Hello and welcome back to the Empathy Labs. I'm Selena, your host, and as usual, it is Sunday. The sun is out. I'm actually recording on the same day, and we're here live for episode 9. We're talking today about linguistic blockers. We're talking about it's March. We're looking at tone versus truth, why what we say is not often what we mean. And we're going to get into that today, folks. We're going to look at the architecture of but and the somatic shrink. And I'm actually recording this episode while officially on vacation. And I have to be honest with you, just thinking about taking my hands off the wheel this week has been a profound somatic exercise. And also, something massive happened to me this week. I received an email letting me know that I was nominated for the 2026 CEO Award of Excellence at the global financial institution where I work as an analyst. And the top 3% of the company globally gets nominated for these things. So it's a massive validation of the exact organizational architecture we talk about on the show and the work that we do in the lab and the folks that write to us and the folks that come in and do interviews with us and let us map their best fight story, map their conflicts, and really make forward movements on their journey on the third rock from the sun. And also, see, I want you guys to count the amount of times I say but. Do you know what my very first thought was when I was told I was nominated for this award? My brain automatically said, yo, you were nominated for the CEO award, but, and you can fill in the blanks with all those buts. Maybe they made a mistake. Maybe the other shoe's going to drop, but I shouldn't post about it because it's too loud. But I need to shrink and just keep my head down. And the word right there, that word right there, but. Last week we talked about the false exit, the painted door on the wall that we try to walk through to avoid any type of conflict in our life. And today we're looking at the bricks we use to build those walls. We're talking about linguistic blockers. I kind of was giving you guys hints that we're going to get into this, in the up and coming weeks, our tones versus our truth. And this Tuesday, talking about truth, brings a lunar eclipse on the south node. And again, I do kind of spool it in here, but do see the experts, whoever they are in your lives. In astrology, the south node is like a drain, right? When you pull the stopper out of the drain, if you like to take nice long baths like I do, the water spilling down. Well, in astrology, you can think of this as it is the cosmic exit door where we're asked to release karma, the habits, and the heavy structures that no longer serve us. And you know what? We cling to these for dear life. We really do, because that's the Glaciers acting up, and we're going to talk about that shortly. So today we're going to look at the language in your life, the language in my life. That's why I can't talk about everybody's lives, because believe it or not, folks, we're inching towards community, right? And in community, the language that we say to ourselves in our own heads, that we say privately when no one's listening. And all of that needs to be eclipsed. It needs to be released down the drain. And right now I'm sitting in a massive sunbeam looking out at my backyard, and I'm just feeling really energized. And so we're going to look at the anthropology, and we're going to look at the kleshas. So we're going to get into the yantra, the structure of what it is we're looking at and what it is we're talking about. And I know some of you are like, what exactly is a linguistic blocker? We define it as a phrase that sounds like communication, and it functions as a barricade. It's a social layer tool. It's used to bypass a structural layer problem. So it's just, again, we looked at structural bypassing last week or the week before. Well, it's a tool used to bypass the actual layer of the problem. So in actuality, what's going on? Now, to understand why we do this, as I said before, we have to look at the kleshas. If you're just joining me here, episode 9, please go back. I talk about what the kleshas are, and now I'm going to break it down. We have to look at them. And in tantric philosophy, the kleshas are 5 mental states that cause suffering. So they are the things that are in our way to happiness, essentially how we get in our own way. And I want to translate 2 of them for you today because they're the foundation of our linguistic blockers, right? We've been journeying for the glaciers for a while. We've been journeying through different parts of them. We're going to start in these episodes in March to really look at what they are and how they're coming up in your everyday life, right? So the first one we're going to look at is asamita, or egoism. This isn't just arrogance, okay? It's our desperate need to protect our identity no matter fucking what. Again, sorry for the cuss. I did say there would be a cuss here and there every so often. So, for example, when I won that award and told myself, but I shouldn't be so loud, I shouldn't post this anymore, I really shouldn't talk about it, I should keep it in its container, no one needs to know, that was asamita. That was my ego trying to protect me from the vulnerability of actually being seen for every single facet and thread of what my tapestry represents. And we use linguistic blockers to guard the ego. The second is avidya, right? And it's usually the one they talk about first. I came in with second to first, but I'm going to talk about it this way. So avidya is ignorance. Now, I'm not talking about stupidity, okay? I'm not talking about any of that. I am talking about the refusal to see the whole complex picture. So it's in front of you, the sky is blue, but you and also want to say it is green. Avidya wants everything to be simple, okay? It wants a straight line, it hates nuance, it hates the curve, it doesn't want to know nothing about that. And when asamita, ego, and avidya, ignorance, team up, they hijack our vocabulary. They give us words that shut down the room, literally and figuratively. So we're going to look at the Tantra, or what I like to call the feel guide. So you can actually see how these are playing out in your lives, because why else are we tuning in, folks? I mean, I'd like to think you're tuning in because I'm completely hilarious and you're quipping out giggling here. And also getting a little bit more put into your bag for the journey. So let's pull these out of the shadows. I want to give you 6 examples of linguistic blockers playing out across the fractals of your life. And I want you to notice the somatic clench when you hear them, when I say them, when I put them into a sentence, real world shit, how you're really feeling when it lands. So, number 1, the eraser. But. So the move is like this. You present a solution to your team, whoever, your partner, your friends, it doesn't matter. And they say, I hear what you're saying, but, or yeah, but either we don't have the budget, we don't have the time, it's not in the group chat, we didn't talk about it. The architecture is that but is a structural eraser. Okay, it deletes the entire first half of the sentence. It tells you that the compliment was just a polite tax that has been paid at your expense to get to their actual point. And this is pure avidya. This is refusing to hold 2 truths at once. And we've learned that 2 things can be true at the same time. Number 2 is the martyr. And we've all used this one. I'll just do it myself. Here's how it works in real time. Something is going sideways. Instead of having the hard conversation about capacity, about what you can and cannot do, what you actually want to do and contribute, you take it back. Never mind, I'll just do it myself. Or you ask for something to be done, partner, kid, friend. Oh, can you just, if you could, and they're not moving at your timeline, on your speed, or even in your portal. And all of a sudden, right after you've asked them to do something, you then follow up and say, never mind, I'll do it myself. Now you think you're being efficient. This is what we think. We all think this. I have said these things. Okay, this is why I can come out here live on the airwaves and talk about it. We think that we're being efficient. What's actually happening is we're weaponizing our competence. If it's in a work situation, You're teaching your team, your colleagues, the people that you interact with all the time, that you are the only one, the only load-bearing wall, ensuring what ensures when one person takes on everything, that there'll be a complete systemic collapse later. Total collapse if something will happen later on. And I'm going to give you a minute to let those first two things sink in. Well, not really a minute. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds. A few breaths. Take an inhale with me. Exhale with me. We have number 3, the underminer. And this word we hear a lot. I even say it all the time. And now when I write out my script, when I look at after we've taken in all the information to create an episode, I'm very aware of the underminer. And the underminer is actually, here's how it falls out. You state a fact, you present a finding, or you set a boundary, and someone chimes in with, actually, it's more like, or, well, actually, or they just start, actually, pause, and then fill in the blank. In our lab interviews here, this actually came up a lot. See, I said it. See, like I'm undermining everything that I'm about to say. This word came up constantly. Actually is a microaggression of the intellect when it's placed that way. I'm not saying that actually always means that. You and I both know what I'm talking about. And we know that it's a microaggression of the intellect. We understand that within ourselves. It is the ultimate second guess. It signals that your reality is up for debate. And it positions the speaker, the person that dropped the underminer, actually as the supreme authority. And it's pure ego masking itself as, I'm just being helpful. It's asamita doing its thing. I'm just being helpful. Actually, I was just trying to help you. Actually, I think you're taking this way too far. Somatic clench, anyone? We looked at this one last week, and it works in home and relationship. And if you've been following me over at Nest Labs, we were auditing this, the pacifier, all of last week. And if you want to know what the audit is, you got to go over to Nest Labs and read and see. It's not very long. I was put in my place. I'm gonna tell you that right now. The I'm fine. You're slamming dishes down, closing cupboards. You're aggressively buttering your toast while you tell your partner, your child, whoever, I'm fine. Everything's fine. It's fine. Shoulders are shrugging everywhere. You can hear it. I'm doing it right now. It's the ultimate false exit. We talked about it last week. If you're just joining us now, go back and listen. Join us right back here. Ultimate false exit. I'm fine. It's so expensive to use those words. I'm fine. It's a refusal to participate in the relationship. It's punishing the other person with your compliance to protect your ego. Asamita, anybody? And we all do it. It doesn't make us good or bad. What we're looking here at, folks, what we're looking at, what the results are saying, we all do this. And there's an antidote to all of this. The first step in it is realizing when we're doing it, how we're doing it, where we're positioning it, and knowing that, you know what, I can now do better. I'm aware. Another one for the home relationship areas is weaponized politeness. Wow. We love a good, polite phrase. With all due respect. To be perfectly honest with you. Now, the move starts like this. You want to start a fight, but you don't think you want to start a fight. You're just thinking that you're stating the facts. So you say to your spouse, to your family member, look, to be perfectly honest with you. Okay. But respect. With all due respect, though. Yo, who's mad? With all due respect, though, to be perfectly honest with you. Now, when we say this, the other person's nervous system instantly, right away, braces for impact because they know there is a complete comet coming their way and they are getting ready to just receive it. What we are doing when we say that, to be perfectly honest with you, what we are doing, you see how I did that? What we are doing when we use those phrases is we're trying to absolve ourselves of the somatic responsibility of the insult by wrapping it in a polite bow. Because when you say, to be perfectly honest with you, you're about to say some shit. I know that, you know that, we all know that. Like, some of you are like, no, no, Selena, no. I'm gonna fight you on that one. I'm gonna tell you. And again, it's not, I'm not out here. You can argue with me in the comments. I'm not out here trying to say that you're a good or bad person. Awareness, self-realization. To be perfectly honest with you, with all due respect, folks, see, I'm weaponizing politeness right here, right now, to show you just how subtle, how easy it just slips off. Absolving myself the responsibility of the insult by wrapping it in a polite bow. Let's look at parenting. We talked about this last week too. The forced apology. Say sorry and mean it. Say sorry and mean it. One kid hits the other kid. One slams the door, the other one's there. Mom! And you immediately force them to come together and say, I'm sorry. Some of us out here are even forcing a hug. Go hug your cousin. Go hug your sibling. Say you're sorry. And you know what that does, guys? You know what message we're sending to the short people around us? Our tiny humans? We're teaching them a linguistic blocker right there. We think we're teaching them compassion, grace, forgiveness, all the ness. We are telling them we want them to bypass their own reality, what they're feeling, what they're thinking. They're still dysregulated and angry. When you slam my door, when you slam down the phone, you are dysregulated and angry. I am, you are, we all are. Doesn't matter how much breathing you're doing. Okay, we know this. We live in this, I want to say, bubble that we live in. It can be bubbly. Okay, they are still dysregulated and angry, and we're forcing them to perform artificial harmony. And who is the artificial harmony for? Us. We're forcing them to perform artificial harmony for our own comfort because, God forbid, we have to be uncomfortable for a moment now. Hey, now. Let's look at the microfractal. I'll go all the way. I said micro, I meant to say macrofractal. I'm going to take it all the way out for a tinge. If we look at the news right now today, the world is incredibly chaotic. And I don't come up on the podcast now to be political anything because there's enough of that all over the place. But I wanted to bring it out to the macro to show you the ultimate linguistic blocker we see in media is absolute binary language. You're either with us or you're the enemy. This is macro level avidya ignorance, if we can ever label it as such. We strip away the geopolitical and the human nuance because holding the complexity of global grief is so heavy. And we're forcing a straight line onto a deeply tangled world. That's the macro fractal. That's the us versus them fractal. That's the what the little buts, and I'll do it myself, and actually, and I'm fine, and with all due respect, and say sorry and mean it, brings us to the us versus them. Macro level of video. And if you were to go and look at the glaciers, like if you want to go Google it right now, I'd say go Google it right now. If you're just tuning in, go Google and figure it out. And the video is the first one. And there's a reason why it's the first one. I'm not going to tell you all now because obviously I want you to keep listening to the podcast. So if I tell you now, then you're not going to keep listening. So stay tuned with us. And now that I brought you through that, you're probably like, oh my God. My God, we're going to get into the redesign right now because you know I hold you for not too long here. We're going to look at the antidote and the AND protocol. And what I'm talking about is, I don't want to say the cure because I don't want anyone coming at me in my comments talking about, I tried this and this happened. And actually, to be completely honest to you, or not, I'm just, putting it out there. How do we stop paying this massive kinetic energy tax with each other, the inefficiency tax on our language? The antidote to the blocker is the expander. When something blocks, we want to expand. We want to move, or we have to move, or we have to want to move together from the binary, it's either or, to the quantum both and. From either or to both and. This week, I want you to run the AND protocol. And as usual, I'm going to be running the experiment live over on Nest Labs. Join me over on Nest Labs to see how the experiment is running over there in real time. But we're going to run the AND protocol. And I want you to ban the word but from your vocabulary, especially when you're in a disagreement. Because we just talked about all the things that we say, right? Like we just talked about all the little phrases we throw in there. And, this is even for emails, like per my last email. Okay. Per my last email, weaponized politeness. Completely all kinds of Instagram memes about this. I want you to ban this when you're in a disagreement. I want you to feel the clench in your throat when your ego, asmita, wants to defend itself and erase the other person. In that very moment, I want you to pause. If you can. Even if it's just once, pause. Replace but with and. Instead of, for example, I got nominated for an award, but I should stay small and not post or not tell anybody or keep it to myself. I got nominated for an award and I feel terrified to be seen. Instead of, I love you, but you never fill in the blank. Or you don't. And also, try, I love you, and I'm drowning in the division of labor right now. Feel what happens to your body when you use and. The solar plexus, that place right in the center of the chest, unclenches. The room gets wider. Two opposing truths are suddenly allowed to exist in the same space. It is fucking terrifying, y'all. Because it means that we have to share the room, erode the boundary, just because we can. It is the only way to build a real bridge. Now we have a lunar eclipse on the South Node this Tuesday, so let's let the South Node do its work. Let's not get in its way. Let it take the trash out. Let those linguistic blockers collide, even if it's just one. Let them collapse. Let them implode. Notice where you're shrinking. Notice where you're forcing a straight line. Take a breath, y'all. Drop the butt. Watch out for the actually. Per my last email. I'm fine. Say sorry and mean it. Let the geometry be messy. Let yourself digest the moment in the pause. As usual, the field notes on this drop on Tuesday. For those C-suite corporate heads, part 13 will drop on LinkedIn article if you're signed up for that and you want all this in actual corp work speak. That's coming out on Tuesday. For now, though, I'm going back to my vacation. I'm going to do the things that bring me ultimate joy. I'm going to sit in the sun. I'm going to hang out with my hubs, build things with my son. I'm going to hug my niece and my nephew, and I'm not going to shrink. And I don't want you to shrink. I want you to expand. I want you to erode the boundaries because you can. I want you to just flow into it. I want you to take care of each other. I want you to stay hydrated. I want you to know the energy is going to kick up. And you will probably want to use all of these. And you probably will. It's okay. If you do, it's fine. Write it down on a piece of paper. Flush it, chuck it, burn it, whatever. This has been the Empathy Lab. I'm Selena. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Stay anchored. And I'll see you next week.